The show back on with that sound. You can also do that.
Oh, well, mine is a full lid.
Oh, man.
I know. It's so nice. Here we go. Woo. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah.
The camera's here. There we go. Oh, no, Andrew, we did not do a good job.
Not do better?
No.
No, Andrew, we did not do better.
We did okay, but not better. That's better. No, it's still problematic.
Let's see. How's mine? Good. Mine is good.
Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. Mine got dusty.
We have very poor dishwashing skills in this office, it seems.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, hey, we have a brush, we have soap, we have a sink.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're washing them. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have beer cleaner, though.
We actually do. It's hidden back under the sink somewhere.
You son of a...
Well, we have
New Year's. We'll just come in and wash all the dishes the first day.
We got a placeholder for those kind of discussions, resolutions. But we were talking about a workplace trip. You mentioned the Library of Congress, so I guess the onus is on me to also talk about a best workplace trip or work trip.
Did you talk about what you're drinking?
Oh,
I mean, it's not that kind of show, but it is kind to at least do that.
I feel like that's our Seinfeld joke.
Yeah.
It's a show about nothing.
Correct.
This is a Dead Out from Arizona Wilderness Relk beer.
I've got Black Mage Stout from 8-Bit Brewing in Avondale. Yes, Avondale. Let's see. 7.3 ABV. And I don't really have a date, but I know that this is relatively aged because it's been around a while. And I believe this is probably from COVID days.
Yeah, there's a mask on that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And,
there you go.
And I don't know.
Because I know I went to BRI when they did like a little pop-up shop and bought a few of these.
I don't know how difficult it is to get those lids anymore.
It's difficult. Yeah, correct.
So,
yeah. I mean, now I feel bad. This is like a piece of history, and I just ruined it in my face.
It's okay.
We have a couple more. It's fine.
Beers to be enjoyed. Here, cheers.
Cheers.
So, workplace trips.
Yes.
I would have to say it was either FOBAB or GABF, and here's why. They were solo trips for me, which is something when I didn't have a coworker. And no, I love going to stuff with you, by the way. But it was just kind of a throwback to a simpler time. No, it was and both of them were last minute. And I got to be in my own head for a little bit, and I didn't have any, because we didn't have a booth for GABF. I didn't have that obligation because I was just there to be to get my own notes for FOBAB, Festival Barrel Aged Beers in Chicago, GABF, Great American Beer Festival, Denver. It was just to take it all in and recalibrate, take some notes, understand how we can make our events better. But also, like, is to understand the city differently. So those are fun. And also, when I say it was a throwback to the time before pandemic, it was still me going, God, I should have planned this instead of just waiting to the last minute. So I got to do better.
when we
one
have
of my
those
lowest
trips
wishes.
that we go on, you do plan so well. You look up the city we're going to and you find a bunch of little quirky history and share that with all the people that are there and go visit those places. That's fun. That's nice.
That reminds me, I have to send Matt Johnson from Huss. We talked to him the other day. We were there for knife sharpening Wednesday in the afternoon. He's going to Madison. I got to send my Madison map.
Yeah.
Which features, among other things, a place in Madison where Elvis Presley got out of his limo to break up a fight.
Very cool.
Yeah.
He was a cop, right?
No?
Well, he was, but
I know he's got a picture of him standing next to Richard Nixon with a DEI badge, but or DEI,
DEA.
DEA. Yes, he was the diversity and equity inclusion cop in the Nixon administration. Oh, that's way too early for these kinds of jokes.
That's quality.
So those are, and so for, it's the experience in taking the whole thing in instead of being singularly focused on what the job is. Those are the best trips.
I would say that my favorite trip was our tour day Arizona. And just going to all these places where I'd never been.
Which leg? Both legs?
Yeah, the whole thing.
South. We went south. We went north.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been to Clarkdale and Cottonwood before. And I went there and it was very nice and it was pretty cool. And that was all part of the whole tour. And I think touring Arizona was just pretty great.
Yeah. We'll have to do it again.
I know I have it scheduled for January. It's on the calendar, bro.
I know. I said it. You said that seems early. I'm like, oh, I know what to do.
I mean, the other ones were also amazing opportunities and great trips and learned so much stuff. But I think it was just really nice to get to see our state more than I had.
Agree. Next topic, craft beer predictions. I know we kind of had a show about the headwinds craft beer's facing, so I'd probably not want to dwell on that too much. But do you have any predictions for craft beer in Arizona in particular?
Well, I'm looking at the current things happening, and Black IPA is coming back.
Nice.
It's not really, but right now it has a little resurgence, but it's not going to get more than it is now. Like there's maybe 5 or 6 around, and I'm happy. That's nice. But for real, what is coming down the pipeline for 2023 in craft beer? Well, if I could pull some strings and make things happen, I would probably encourage more breweries to open more own premises.
Second locations,
things like that. I hope that's what's coming down because that's a great way to maybe save your business or find additional revenue that can help you do more fun things. I've also seen a couple of breweries who did not have pilot systems starting to take this opportunity to put in a pilot system and do a little bit more creative things. And, craft beer has always been about innovation and new stuff. And when you get to a certain size of brewery, you can't do that because you're making too much beer for it to be a niche product. And so I see more breweries putting in smaller systems so that they can do those little niche things and maintain that innovation and do some more testing and do more community building through smaller batches, which I think that's really cool.
Yeah. A while back I posted something, I'm trying to remember who I cribbed it from. It talked about Pilsners, Brian Roth, who's a numbers guy, as a beer writer, writes for Good Beer Hunting, among other things. And he had basically said, hey, you're seeing a lot of Pilsners in tap rooms, but it doesn't necessarily translate to volume. And Pilsner probably won't be a store shelf phenomena
The year of the lager.
Yeah. Well, so I got some thoughts on that, and a couple people took me to task on it, and they were not in this area. One of them was Mid-Steel. He's like, "Well, no, we got this going on." I'm like, "Great, I'm all for it." But Brian's point was just because you're seeing in the tap room and brewers try to make it happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. And what that really speaks to is there's just two different perceptions of our industry, and Brian's speaking to the things that nobody sees, including himself, but he sees the numbers. He subscribes to the IRI data, which is mostly anybody who's scanning, you're getting that data. Obviously, no one's scanning at a tap room, and no one's, even if it's product across the shelf. So it just kind of speaks to the dynamic. What I do appreciate is that there's other. We're starting to see Helles. We're starting to see other variants of Oktoberfest beers, not the super heavy caramelly ones, more the lighter fest beers. But I think to me a trend I hope happens, and I'm just basing it on what I see, is exploring more of the styles and less being ingredient focused. More on technique side. I hope that's something that is what I'm, based on what I see, I hope that's going to be a trend. I hope it takes off. So in other words, instead of just having a lager or a lime flavored Mexican style lager or any kind of extra flavoring, it's just understanding that when you do a Mexican lager, there are innumerable style variations that are important without really getting into adding, yuzu fruit or whatever. And I'm not digging on that. I'm actually a very huge craft fruit beer fan when they're done right and they're dry and in the aroma. I love it. But I don't see that expression as much as I would like to. So that's, I hope, is a prediction.
Yeah, but the overall Bev Alc industry is, where's that flavor trend going? Is it going back to like traditional things, or is it exploding into?
It's not. But here's the thing: are we going to compete on that? I mean, are we going to?
I think it's one of the best places for beer to compete.
Well, I think they can make those products, but I think you have to also do something that tells the consumer what you do as a brand or what you do as a brewery. And I think we talked about this. I said breweries got to bring bitter back, because all those other RTDs don't really address that. I mean, I know there are bitter cocktails, obviously. And maybe let's leave it to the craft spirits people and the big companies to start introducing that flavor. Because I think we can win on beer flavored clean bitterness. So I think you have to have your irons in that fire a little bit. But in terms of competing, I'm hoping that people pick up the signals of, vis-a-vis what you said about second locations and hospitality, which we've been sort of on the
warpath.
Yeah, warpath about
evangelizing.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be some. I think there's going to be some winners and losers, and you don't have to go out of business to be a loser. You can. I think if you're being stagnant, and I know the market is stagnant, but if you're also being stagnant, I think that's not a winning strategy. So I after this Super Bowl, if not everyone's not completely beat up, I hope people start to understand and see customers that want to come back. I used to not believe like, oh, well, we need regular customers. I think we need both. We're the Florida of the West, right? In terms of they have like Disneyland. We have natural beauty, and I don't know where I'm going with this. That's my hope. It's a hope prediction.
So that as an industry, we embrace both our neighborhoods and our visitors.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's important.
It's funny because we're hardly anyone knows anyone who's a native, and yet we don't really experientially feel like we're, a tourism town, tourism state. I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, you and I are tourists, but we're long-term tourists.
Right. Right.
We came from somewhere else.
Yeah. Huh. At what point do you stop being a visitor and become like, that's a good question.
I don't know.
I mean, when you start embracing the local sports teams, is that when you become a native?
I hope not.
No one does. I know.
They're not really
it's
doing
not
very
pretty.
well.
Yeah. Okay. So I think.
Yeah. Well, and when I say they're not doing well, like as organizations.
Yeah.
With
it's been a rough couple years.
Yeah. Public figures, they're not. And I'm not
setting
even
a high
not
standard
even
of excellence
the players. I'm
as an
talking about
organization.
yeah. Let's just fold this right into resolutions.
Okay.
And I'll start. I resolve that this show will have much better video capabilities in 2023. We'll try to move towards a more produced product that will be easier for us to put out. Because
yes.
I don't want to make this a drag. We're going to hopefully change our setup here a little bit.
Oh, yes. Some remodeling in the office.
Yeah. And, I think it'd be an extension of what you talked about. I think we're going to get on the road a little bit more. I think we're going to talk to more folks. And I'm going to try to make this job a little less stressful for myself and you. I'm going to see what that takes, because I think you jumped in right at you jumped right into the hot frying pan here, and got to figure out how to make our time spent effectively with the organization and get things done. And we have a young new board, and I'm hopeful that we can get that accomplished.
I would say for my New Year's resolution that, I don't know. I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but things that I'm looking forward to doing is, we talked about yesterday that we don't really have a central data repository of the things that we've done, of the histories of breweries. We don't have any of that. So getting that put together, that's a very important thing to me. And I have to get to Edge of the World Brewing. I have to.
Yeah, that was related to another question we have. We can walk right into that. A place you haven't been in Arizona or haven't been in a long time that you're looking forward to getting to in 2023, and Edge of the World Brewing Company.
That I haven't been to, and then I haven't been to in a long time.
Well, let's keep on.
Oh, yeah.
Explain where this is.
Edge of the World Brewing. That is in Colorado City, Arizona. It's right on the border of Arizona and Utah. You may remember the name of the city from Warren Jeffs and some crazy fundamentalist Mormon stuff. But it is actually a center for people who are exploring and particularly rock climbing in the southern Utah, northern Arizona area, and a very busy tourist sort of town. Mm-hmm. Edge of the World Brewing's been open for 6 years.
Yeah,
a long time, and apparently doing great, because every time I talk to them, I'm very positive and happy about what's going on. Yeah,
the secret to that town is a few things. One is if you're interested in Zion and Bryce and you find that they're overcrowded, and that has been the case for a lot of national parks in the West, specifically on the weekends. The local people there will tell you there are equally fascinating things to do there. The second thing they'll tell you is most people do enjoy beer in that town, for sure. They just let a segment of their population who are committed to voting in a block take over the town council, and that's no longer the case. Third thing they'll tell you is they get along great with the Utah breweries there. And there's, you had some time in Salt Lake City. I know this is hundreds of miles away, but they have their own little scene there. They have their own little time zone, by the way. If you're going there, that city doesn't often follow Arizona time. They follow Utah time, which makes
So
sense.
amazing.
They don't tell anybody that sometimes.
Surprise.
I've only been up there once.
Here an hour early. Whoops.
And I need to get back too. So that is definitely on my list as well.
The other one I'm excited about is Prison Hill in Yuma. I haven't been there in probably 3 years.
Yeah. Got to get out there myself too.
Chris is the best.
Yeah, he is.
And he's really making a name for himself in that town and doing some great things for the community, like all of our brewery owners do. Like they actually care about their town. So many do great things.
It's been so long that I forgot there's a burrito place that is sometimes on a list of best burritos in the world.
Oh,
And I can't even remember the name of it. That's how long it's been. The last time I was there, I literally I got there after the Prison Hill Penitentiary Festival.
yeah, the beer fest that they have down there.
And it was great because I got everyone's time because they all went out in a block, and then I left the next day. But
Why do I never get to that event? Like, I feel like I want to go, but there's always another thing I'm doing that weekend.
yeah, I think it's sort of a it's either a complication with
Barrels,
Oktoberfest,
bottles, and brews. or-
Oktoberfest season, and it all kind of folds into November-ish. And
I always miss it anyways. It makes me sad, but hey.
yeah,
And I know that our good friend Ken Wilson goes every year and makes it a point. He puts it on his calendar the second it comes out.
well, maybe we should put it on our calendar.
The second it comes out, I should look. I have a calendar, by the way.
Yeah, we all have a calendar.
Well, I made a calendar for everybody. That's a pretty big deal.
Any other places?
Well, I can't wait I want to spend a weekend at Wilcox.
Yeah.
At Torito Farm. I'd love to figure out a way to get my wife to go down there for like 4 days. But I know she wouldn't want to do that because she likes to have things to do. If you go to Torito Farm,
Yeah.
that would be your home base. And you would go out and you would explore from there,
Yeah.
which sounds amazing since they have that Airbnb. Like,
Yeah.
4-day weekend.
You can go to the Rex Allen Hall of Fame.
Or up down.
Or
I don't know what that
History.
is, but okay.
he's a country singer that grew up there.
Aha.
Now, out in Arizona, where the bad men are, why, there's nothing there to guide you but an evening star.
I had a hugely enjoyable time in the part of the state that's south of Tucson. Not that Tucson has not a lot to offer. They certainly do, but it's just a whole another landscape, and it has elevation, deceptive elevation. Like you don't feel like you're really up at 5,000.
5,000 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're seeing some peaks, and you're like, but it is a pleasant time. At Wilcox, you can dip into New Mexico and hit that burger chain that I keep hearing about. I can't remember the name of it.
I have no idea what
You're
you're
in New
talking
Mexico.
about.
There's some burger chain that everyone's like, oh, you got to go to the Dave's or something like that. Wow. We'll fix this in post.
I didn't know nothing about this
yeah.
because I graduated from high school in El Paso, which is practically New Mexico. And
Yeah.
is this new?
No. They're like very drive-in, or the old school
Okay.
kind of.
You could dip in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I used to drive through New Mexico to Lubbock like 3 times a year. Okay, 2 times a year. I was exaggerating. 2 times a year.
In this job years ago, we did a couple things with the New Mexico Brewers Guild in terms of going to their conference. It was more intimate, smaller affair. I've known the last 2 directors. I'm not caught up with who they got in place of Leah, who was most recent that we've had face to face with, you and I. So we We should put that on. Let's get in touch with those folks in New Mexico.
I'm writing it down. Hold on. Write down New Mexico people and burgers.
Great. Let's talk.
Okay, good. Got it.
Let's talk about people. Well, let's talk about places in Arizona, impractical or not, where you'd like to have a beer festival. More, I mean, I guess in the long run, where would you like to have a beer in Arizona that you generally can't? So I'll give you a quick example. There are festivals in Prescott, and they are on the street surrounding the courthouse. Occasionally, but very rarely, do they allow people to have that grassy area. I think that's one of the most picturesque summer and sometimes winter. I mean, they have that's the Christmas city. They have lights. I think it's a storybook location. It's fraught with all kinds of complications with the businesses there and historical problems with festivals and all that stuff. So it's not a nut I want to crack per se, but that's an example. It would be nice to have a beer on the courthouse steps, one of the original state capitals of Arizona. But I'm actually going to look at the current state capital. Alcohol, I believe, is banned from the state capital, or at least the House side or the Senate side. I'm not really sure which. The Capitol Museum had alcohol sales for a while. The problem was they didn't authorize cold refrigeration.
What?
Yeah, so it was more of a, because they sold like touristy things.
Sure.
But they didn't really have the funds, or they didn't really promote it very well. It would be nice to have that back, but I would like to have be able to serve beer, especially during our lobbying season, on the Capitol grounds, and maybe part of that Wesley Bolin Plaza where there's the Code Talkers Memorial, a couple war memorials.
Yeah.
I know they've had other events there. I just don't know if they've included beer. But
We could do all Arizona breweries.
yeah, we could.
That would be amazing. You know where I would like to do one? Picacho Peak.
Okay.
I just thought of this, and I think we can do it. There's campgrounds there.
At Picacho Peak.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking, never mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking Piestewa Peak. I'm like,
Oh, no, I don't want to go there. So there's campgrounds at Picacho Peak.
yeah, it's a state park.
Yes. However, I've been trying to get a camping time opportunity, and they sell out like they open up the park in February, and it's booked through the following February within days.
Yeah.
So I would like to go and reserve like 20 spots and get a permit for having a beer festival there. And then it would appeal to a different sort of like adventure group rather than just our regular everyday people who want to go to beer festivals. It would be like a niche thing. And then we could do a hike that day. And then we could go see another thing.
Hikers, beer drinkers, truck drivers, adult bookstore connoisseurs. Is that thing still there?
It's still there.
I'm down. I'm with you.
I think that would be super cool.
For the first two reasons, not the other two.
You like driving trucks. What are you talking about? So that would be neat. And I'm positive we could get at least 5 or 6 breweries roped into that because they're adventurers themselves. Yeah.
Like during the spring flowering season.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Should we like also forage for ingredients?
You're just being silly. But
No, I'm
someone
not being silly.
could bring a cool ship.
Yeah. It's possible. It is. Yeah.
Huh.
All right.
That'd be cool.
I mean, I did say that they don't have to be rooted in
Yeah,
reality.
you said not rooted in reality. That's where I went.
No, I mean,
I would like to have a beer
Yeah.
at the top
I mean,
of Fiesta Peak with 100 of my favorite friends.
yeah. Sometimes I bring this up because sometimes you go like, why do you have a festival? Like blah, blah, blah. And like people sometimes say like the botanical gardens, and it's wonderful. And yes, they have food centric events there, but the traffic patterns are really terrible there. Like, cause they're not equipped to have lines, and you have to, it can be expensive, but I really, it's really more about the foot traffic and how you manage all that stuff. So sometimes that's a consideration, and you got to scale what type of crowd and how many people are going to be there. But
And a lot of it is going to come down to how much are they willing to pay to go.
yeah,
Because these are not, these have to be at least break-even events. And
Yeah.
I have done a lot of catering and
Yeah.
a lot of bartending at the Botanical Gardens, and it is very expensive.
yeah. Well, because I mean, you got to consider, things like the zoo and all that stuff. Like if they do it on their own, they're willing to sacrifice the entrance fee. But like,
Sure.
if you're doing an event there, like, hey, we're losing $12.50 a child and $25 an adult. So I mean, you don't literally put that on the ticket, but
It's in there.
in some
Yeah.
respects, you kind of do.
I mean,
I mean,
I have some ideas.
if it's a private business, they'd certainly not let you do it. But like they're a little more willing when they're some sort of public institution. It's part of their mission to do both kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah, the zoo. It's like, oh, you should do the zoo. The zoo has, but like the zoo does it because they get all the revenue,
Correct.
and they also get all the donated product. So,
All of it for free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Phoenix City Hall is interesting. The grounds outside there are, have these wonderful desert museum Palo Verdes. So it's shaded, but the inside is, back to it's no Library of Congress, but like anytime you can drink beer on these nice marble floors and
It's an experience.
yeah,
It's a big experience.
yeah, because they don't, and we don't make buildings like that.
Let's do that little thinking back to the year and like our historical museum.
Yeah,
That was an incredible part of the year. One of the most uplifting and like heartwarming parts. Part of it goes to where you were saying that you went to FOBAB and you went to GABF by yourself, and it's a different thing. And you didn't really have to be on. You didn't have to be turned on. And I'm working now, and that was a lot of what happened at the Arizona Craft Beer Awards presentation. Was that people didn't have to be turned on; they just had to be present with their peers.
I was like, you're suggesting that you and I weren't on the entire time?
Well, yeah, no,
because we
not
were the
us.
only ones
Of
running the
course
entire
us,
presentation. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and people got to walk through the museum, and most people are like, I hadn't been here in years, or I've never been here, or I had no idea.
I didn't know this existed. Yeah, and it's so cool.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have another opportunity to leverage the same organization's location in Flagstaff and in Tucson.
They even
And-
have a space in Yuma.
I know.
Oh boy.
I haven't been to it. We'll
Me
have to
either.
check it out.
We should go into a virtual fly through on Google Maps or something.
Maybe.
Oh, hey, how many miles did you put on this year, Rob?
I don't know.
Hey, Rob, how many miles did you put on? I don't know either.
I
But I know that my 2018 car is now over 100,000 miles in 4 years. And between my prior job and this job, I'm doing no favors to my vehicle at all, which I
Yeah.
love. I love it. It's a great car.
I did 13,131 miles in 2021.
Aha.
I don't think I did that many this year, but I'll find out when I do my taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's a lot of miles for what is generally in any other organization. This would be a desk job.
I mean, I'm doing 25,000 miles a year on my car.
Yeah.
And that did not go down this year for sure. Well, I didn't make the trip to Denver like I did last year, drive there and back, but still.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was a lot.
those are strictly business
Work miles. Yeah.
not personal miles.
I have to get that going in my app. I have to do my swiping to get all my trips categorized.
Well, you can do the app, but I go through Google Maps every day and compare it to my calendar, and it's not. I could be better at that, but. So where are we at here? How about we talk about? We could talk a little bit about the guests we've had, but
sure.
Let's also talk about more so the people we'd like to have on the show and have conversations with us, because I think our shows are better when we have a guest.
We have been very fortunate to have Sue Rigler on a couple times and tell us about her journey to opening her brewery. But I would love to have Tyler Smith on, Marshall Norris, because he opened in the middle of the pandemic, and then, well, maybe right before, and he has just done a whole bunch of stuff that people would find interesting. I guess I would say like people who just open breweries and learn what their journey's been in the last couple of years. Megan Greenwood.
Yeah, we could have Megan on and her brew team. We could have Jeremy DiConcini from Modus Sonora, because they started out about that time, but they also started out under the brewery direction of Tommy Arthur, who's come up in conversation, I think on our show, about the retooling of Lost Abbey, which I think figures into everything we talked about last week's show and everything we're projecting is being right-sized. Mm-hmm. Because the rap I got when we started growing breweries 15, 20 in a year in the early start of my career here was like, oh, Rob doesn't like small breweries. I'm like, no, it's not. I like right-sized breweries. You can be small, but you have to have a lot going on. And I routinely point to Flagstaff Brewing Company, Jeff Thorstett and Al Hennis. Al's no longer with the organization. Jeff is still there. They literally they mash in a mash tun that is the same size as New Belgium when they opened. It is I don't even know what the gallonage is, but it's a square about the size of a large pub table, deep obviously too. But in the late 90s, that was the original Nano Brewery. But it didn't survive strictly by making beer. They have an entire restaurant, a coffee concept, live music, the whole thing. And, you can, in 20 plus years that he's been open, he's heard it all. They had moments when their beer has been spectacularly brilliant. There are moments when you're standing there in Flagstaff, and that was, one of the few games in town that you were like, I am in the right place.
That's cool.
So, that was a tangent. But we try to get, the way this show works is we do our jobs, and subsequent to what we do, we have stories to tell. And I haven't told those stories for most of the career, like in a format like this. Every once in a while I get on, but we're privy to information that isn't necessarily secret.
Just not well known.
And there's no real outlet to talk about it.
We should, other than our friends in the brewing industry, we should have people like, I don't know, how about people in politics on? How about we get some, it's always fun to have someone like Luke from Yakima Chief on, but what would be more in our realm is more like someone who is the director of operations for Phoenix Metro bus system.
Yeah. Well, we can get, so I don't want to get, that would be a show I would really like is to talk to, the reason that breweries can do really well and where they, in a different scenario, don't do very well. It's like literally like down to zoning for parking spots.
Yeah.
And easements, and I mean, in Flagstaff there was a deal that was killed by an easement, and I can't share who it was, but it would have transformed Flagstaff, and it would be a situation where a brewery from another city has I would only guess would be a very popular place up there, but it was killed by an easement. So I like those kinds of guests, but off the top of my head, we will have for sure Craig Miller here, who used to be a liquor agent with the DLLC. He runs Arizona Liquor Industry Consultants, so he does licensing, and he specializes in advising businesses on trade practice, so they don't have any violations. Training, which we just did our liquor training with his organization. We'll have Camila, our attorney, on at some point. The only reason that we don't have him just, shooting it up is we probably want to put a little thought into what the topic is and try to put some guardrails, especially when you're talking about legal stuff.
Especially when you're talking to Craig Miller.
Yeah, he's a storyteller.
Yes.
We could get former Representative Jeff Wenninger, who ran for treasurer, and unfortunately he got signal from his party that seat was going to be open, and Kimberly Yee, who was going to run for governor, did not, and she ended up being the top vote getter in the entire state for every office, if you look at it that way. So that wasn't going to happen. Super knowledgeable guy, owns a small business still, Floridino's. Not a craft beer place by any stretch per se. I mean, they have some mainstream brands, but they're a mom and pop Italian restaurant, Americanized, which I freaking love because you don't see that anymore.
Right.
I just
lean into it. Don't try and be something else. Just do it.
Yeah.
Be that Americanized Italian food.
I just talked to Rodney Hugh, who owns the Yucca concept here. Or I call it concept now. It was just usually the Yucca tap room.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have Yucca North. It's a music venue. Our friend Casey, who used to bartend here in Tempe, runs back and forth up there, is managing that like crazy. He's got more miles than both of us combined. They're opening the old not State 48. I
don't know this.
It was all Arizona. The state bar. In Cottonwood.
Oh, okay.
So that they're taking that over, or they have taken it over. They really haven't put their mark on it yet. I talked to him about his proposed plan to redesign the Danielle Plaza, which is steps away from us here in our office. So that gets into city planning and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, this is why I want to clean up the video production and our presentation, because it's totally easy for us to may not be here in this office, get some time with Governor-elect Katie Hobbs.
What?
Governor-elect Katie Hobbs.
Okay. Are you sure? I mean, I just watched the whole TV show yesterday.
I know she's a drinker.
That might not be something you want to say quite so bluntly.
Hey man, you know what?
Thankfully, Katie Hobbs is a supporter of
Didn't you just talk about Greg Stanton running upstairs to have a beer?
That was him, not me. I was in fronting.
She's a consumer of products that we sell and others. I think she leans more wine, but that's okay. That's okay. But I mean, there are other people.
She's a drinker.
I'm not editing that out.
Oh, good.
It's time we start, encouraging
our representatives to be who they are.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, this is like life.
What do you want? Jeff Wenninger is a drinker.
That's a great guy. Love that guy.
Yeah.
He sent me a letter, which I'm sure that anyone who gave him $1 got a letter, which I think that, I mean, I am like in this industry now, and that's, I think, the first time I've ever donated to a candidate, but I believe in him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
he's got to do some things. I know this.
Yeah. And I just thought it was super cool that I got a letter that's saying, hey, I'm not elected now. I'm still around. If you need anything, give me a call. That's all it said.
Yeah.
It was nice.
We're gonna get some wine people in here. People that I served with on the AWGA, Arizona Wine Growers Association.
What about distilling people?
Distilling.
Get
We just
Gary
talked
in
to
there.
Gary, who runs the Distillers Guild. We just talked to Kelly from why can't I think of it? Adventure Stills.
Oh, yeah.
We just saw him at 100 Mile the other day.
2 days ago.
Yeah. That's how my old mine works. We want to bring the tribes together, so we'll get those folks in place. Wow, I didn't think I had that many people to talk about. But
I know. Well, we better get our act together and get things scheduled. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. So.
Right. But it was more of an aspirational question. Those are people that we can get. It's just schedule. But when we mentioned Mitch Steele, he's got a connection here in Arizona. I know he comes out once in a while. He's got family in Tucson area.
Mike Hess, same.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while.
Me either.
Last time was Strong Beer some years ago. Walking around.
I have his number. You want to call him?
We're gonna test out that Bluetooth function on the Rode Procaster 2.
Procaster 2.
There was some other folks. Oh, we have our colleagues from out of state as well, and we can. Pick a state. We can get them on the show. Compare our experiences,
Situations.
What's going on. Yeah.
Except California.
I can get a hold of.
Great.
But I haven't. I don't think I've ever sat down or had a face-to-face with her. Her last name is Atlas. Don't know. She's got a great name. If your last name's Atlas,
It's not a bad way to go. Yeah.
Can't remember her first name.
I don't know. Bauman's a pretty great name. Really great, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Batman, but off by one letter. It's the Hong Kong version of Bauman.
Yeah.
Like Batman.
So we don't ever do that. Like and subscribe.
Oh my God! Did you just do that? Did you just say the like and subscribe?
I did. I said we don't do that, but like if you have a way, I know we don't publish our email, but you know how to get a hold of us. Like if there's somebody you want on the show, let us know.
Let us know in the comments below. What?
Right. Comments below.
So gross. I guess that's the difference between us as not professional YouTube and podcaster people versus people that.
I pointed this way. It's probably down. There. Or there. I don't know.
Rob doesn't even watch YouTube. He doesn't know how this works.
Put it on full screen.
Yeah.
I never see the buttons.
Great.
So that's all the topics I had. Did we cover your list of topics you wanted to cover?
No, I didn't have any.
You did too.
What did I have?
I said we said like let's talk about all these things, and then I totally changed it this morning.
Oh no, good. I had a list of all the breweries that I went to, which is crazy. But I don't have the data. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. Poorly prepared, Andrew, right here.
Got it. All right.
I think these people are ready for us to stop talking. And I think that we've shared a lot of info, and it's a great way to be excited about the upcoming year. Honestly, for me, like it's great. We need to get those things scheduled, and we need to make sure that we keep rolling.
People don't know how long we've been talking because I'm going to break this up.
Yeah, thank you.
I think.
Okay.
Depends. We never really also pimp our own stuff. Strong Beer Fest.
Yeah, that's true. We're bad. That's why I said we're not professional at this stuff. We're just like,
Strong Beer Fest.
We do it for the passion of the industry, and rather than what we should do is stuff. Strong Beer Fest.
Should probably get the folks behind Salt River Fields on the show.
Oh, yeah. And they're great. I've been on podcasts with them.
Really?
Before. Yeah. With Eric. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Eric Walters, Tap That AZ.
Right.
Often post up at a festival, including Barrels, Bottles, Brews.
And Strong Beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Real Wild and Woody.
Also, yes.
He's on all those things. It's great.
Probably need to figure out how to break this up here.
And also, we should figure out a tagline.
Yeah, we could just sit here and rattle a bunch off.
I know that takes
All right.
thinking.
All right, next time you will text me your ideas, and I'll text you back, and then we'll just go through them. We'll just go through them like we're recording a commercial, like, you know. Hey, it's Rob and Andrew in the morning, and we're pleased to be in Cincinnati,
Beautiful Cincinnati.
Dallas, Texas, Dallas, Texas.
Take the show on the road. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, like, you know how they record
Yes.
these bumper promos?
Yes.
Do people? This is a pet peeve of mine, by the way. I hate when people say Phoenix, Arizona. Like, what other fucking Phoenix is there that is even worth talking about? I mean, it's not like
that
you
is
say.
definitely a you thing.
Come on, like, no one goes Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but Arizona's a fun word to say.
Pennsylvania is not fun to say.
No, it's very long and confusing.
I don't know.
Are you talking about syllables? I don't know. Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to Phoenix,
should
Arizona.
speak for itself. It's literally the fifth fucking biggest. I'm swearing you.
I know.
Biggest
I know what
city
you're
in
saying.
the country. In the country, like, give us some credit here.
We don't even give ourselves credit for stuff like that.
I know.
Arizona loves having this, like, we're still a small state.
When are
We're
we
still
gonna
a
be,
little tiny town.
When are we going to be San Diego? Not until the Pacific Ocean hits our border. Not going to happen. Doesn't matter. I like San Diego for what it is, but I don't live there. Never going to live there. I like to visit once in a while. Haven't been in a long time.
God, it's been so long. We used to go with the kids for spring break all the time, and now
Yeah.
the kids are out, and
There's no spring break anymore.
There's no more spring break.